The Carter 6 just came out a couple days ago, and what I've been seeing online, I don't think people are digging it too much. So I sat back, I waited, I let it go through the ether, I let it marinate for a couple of days, if you will, and then I said, fuck it. Now's the time. And I put my headphones in while I was at work, and I listened to that son of a bitch, and I tell you what, I think the Carter 6 is a little overhated. Now, I understand why it is getting hate. Now, it's not Lil Wayne's fault. Lil Wayne showed up. He brought the bars like he always does. Lil Wayne brings the bars, son. That first track, bars. Loki's theme, bars. The elephant song, bars. But people aren't happy with the production. And I don't mind it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really mind the production. It's not the worst to me. It's not, it's not my favorite produced album of all time. But listen, it's not bad. The production isn't bad, and I know that people are really gonna like disagree with me on that and be like, yeah, you fucking have dog shit for fucking taste, for beats, whatever, blah blah blah. Listen, I have a theory. We have been spoiled in the past 10 years now, when beat selection and 808s and you just got to have crazy beats. In this day and age of music, the beat selection is like a big thing now, and it's always been a big thing. But you and I, if you're a hip hop head, we both know that the era of the past 10 years, what that has gone through in terms of like, I'm gonna air quote this. I'm just saying, it's just a term, mumble rap, right? So when people started being more melodic, start picking more beats that people really like, there was an era of time recently where people were listening to the music for the beats and for the vibe rather than the lyrics, right? So I think that there's a new culture that has grown up without listening to, like, listen, I'm pushing 30, okay? I'm 27. So I grew up on Lil Wayne, and let me tell you what, this ain't the first time he's rapped on beats like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't the first time these beats are coming around. So it's not surprising to me hearing some of these beats that he's rapping on. In fact, it kind of reminds me of like old Wayne a little bit. Not old Wayne, but he's kind of always had a questionable beat choice in some of his songs. Like not every song, but there are a good amount, a handful of songs where you're kind of like, damn, that's the beat he chose. And I grew up on like the Jerk era, and that's kind of what a lot of these beats remind me of, kind of like the Jerk era, that 2010 2011 hip hop era when YMCMB was really taking over, and like jerking was like cool and shit, like those kind of beats, and like skinny jeans and Vans were really popping. That's kind of what some of these beats remind me of, and so it doesn't really throw me off. Like, I'm Not a Human Being by Lil Wayne, there was some beats on those records where they were kind of like, that's a little out there. And, no one really said anything at the time, because during the time, that shit was tight. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like there's just an era that has washed over this new culture of, people and people who listen to music nowadays, especially hip-hop, that the beat has to fucking bang. There has to be a beat drop. There has to be a nice melody to it. There has to be a dope fucking, bass and shit. Like, there has to be hi-hats everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't have any of those things, the beat's gonna get criticized for it. And I don't blame anybody if you have this opinion on it about the production. I don't blame you. It does take a particular ear to like listen to that and be like, yeah, I don't really mind that. And you all can fucking talk about my ears all you want. I get they're fucking big. I get it. Okay, I've been fucking hearing all these jokes since a kid. I've literally heard them all, and I know, yes, that is an ironic ear joke as well. So anyway, I do think it's a bit overrated. I listened to it. Each song, I would say, is probably about a 7 or an 8. It's not, they're not my favorite. Like I said, it's not my favorite. And another thing is that it's the album name, right? It's the Carter 6. So we all have expectations up fucking here, right? Like, I get that. We all have the biggest expectations for, all of the Carters, every time he drops a Carter album. And it seems like anytime he's going to drop an album, it's going to be the Carter album because the Carter albums sell more. You know what I mean? So, because like, when's the last time he's dropped an album that wasn't the Carter? Let me do some research right there because I think I might have just said something stupid. Yeah, I'm tripping. I totally forgot about Funeral. And then before the Carter 5, it was the Free Weezy album. And then before that, I'm Not a Human Being too. But like, the Free Weezy album, a lot of people were speculating that was the Carter 5. And then Funeral, I feel like Funeral could have been the Carter 6. You know what I mean? But yeah, I totally forgot about Funeral. I thought it was Carter 5. And then I thought Funeral was Carter 5 for some reason. I totally forgot about the Carter 5 and the songs that were on it. But anyway, my point kind of is still valid on the point of like, he is naming it the Carter 6 because he knows that's going to sell, and maybe he just needed to fucking put some shit out to get some money. I don't know. Who knows what it is? All I know is he came with the fucking bars, and I enjoyed most of the tracks. There's not really any track that really stood out to me besides Loki's theme. I really like Loki's theme. That shit made me want to fucking gangbang and throw up the bless sign and just walk up on a crib. I'm just kidding. But that shit was a banger. I love that song. And then, the Elephant song, just bars. Like, you could say what you want about the beat. I'm listening to the bars. That's what I'm thinking. Like, there's just a whole generation that really relies and wants to have every song just have a banger-ass beat, which is fine. I get that. That is valid. I don't hold that much weight on the production like that. As long as the beat sounds good enough and he's not rapping off beat and the fucking... the mixing sounds good and the bars are there, I'm listening to it and I'm not going to fucking really complain about much. You know what I mean? That shit's fire. There's some good songs on there. There's some ends on there. There's a handful of ends on there. You know what I mean? But there's a handful of good songs. There's like one or two really good songs, right? So I give the album probably a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe a 7. Closer to just solid 7. Yeah. Maybe a 6.5. I don't know. It's not his best album. It's not my favorite album. I think people are just holding so much weight on it because it's the Carter 6. If he would have named it a different album name, maybe people wouldn't be so mad about it. Maybe if he named it the fucking the Lil Wayne album, then maybe people wouldn't be so mad about it, But that's my opinion on it. I think it is a little overhated. I think people are going a little too far. I did see a video of like someone fixing the song where they just took Lil Wayne's acapella from one of the songs. They took the voice and then they made their own beat. And honestly, like, their beat wasn't that bad, but honestly it wasn't that great either. Like, I was listening to it and I was like, it's probably, I would say, a little better than the Elephant beat, but not by much. It wasn't that great. I think the dude, like, at that point, you could just slap anything on there and you could make it better. But, yeah, that's my opinion on that. I just wanted to get that out there. So, peace out. See ya.